Hi, this is another video in the tutorial of the lecture series Digital Economy and Data Analytics. My name is Eik van Vuren and today we're going to look at the topic regression techniques. Well, we have already been looking at regression in supervised machine learning, but today we're going to look much more into how to implement these kind of regression techniques. And for that we are going to look today at the implementation of these regression techniques using the data from a website called funda.nl. Probably I have already mentioned that particular website. More in particular, funda.nl is a website in the Netherlands where you have actually listed a lot of different houses. So at the moment that you would like to buy a house, then, well, this might be a very interesting website to visit because of the fact that more or less all the houses for sale are listed on this particular website. Well, today we're not going to buy houses, but we're going to use this website in order to predict house prices, and we're going to do that by using all the houses for sale on this website on the date of the 10th of October 2025 in Amsterdam. Well, in order to do so, the first thing that we need to do is that we have to do some preliminary stuff. We have to load in the data. And first of all, we're going to do that by importing pandas, taking into account that we would like to load in a data frame, and therefore we need pandas, and that we can do by using import pandas as PD, and then in addition to that we also need the directory in which our file is stored. And well, for that we are going to make a particular variable. It has the name simply directory, and it's nothing else as a string. And well, in this case I have used, of course, the directory that I need in my computer. Most likely that is going to be different, of course, in your computer, so therefore you have to change this part of the final program, of course, and put there the directory in which your particular file is stored. But then the next thing we can do is that we can then use the method readExcel. That's a method from Python, so we're going to use here PD for that, of course. Sorry, it was of course in pandas, so therefore we need this PD, and therefore we're going to have pd.readExcel, and then the next thing we're going to have is that we are going to have here the file name. For that we are going to use an f string, and the reason why we're going to do that is because of the fact that we would like to include this directory, of course. So that implies that we start here with f, then we're going to have, well, the string itself, and then between these curly brackets that we have over here, we then put their directory. That implies that we simply paste in here this string that we have over here. Again, that is going to be different in your case. And then in addition to that, we are going to have then the file name, and that is this file name that we have over here. So that also you have to, well, that's essentially the same, of course, in your case, because of the fact that the file name will have the same name for you as well. And we are going to store that into a particular variable that we call here df. Well, that's of course for data frame. And then if we have already done that, then the next thing we can do is that we can investigate that data frame by using printdf.info. Well, take into account again that this is a method of pandas. Another thing that you should take into account is that this is one of the ways to get a listing of the, say, variables that are included in your data set. You can do that also in a maybe even easier way by simply writing print list and then this df that we have over here. That is also possible. That's a very general way in order to get a list of the variable names of this particular data frame. However, in our case, we would like to do still this df.info, and the reason behind that is because of the fact that that gives you a little bit more information, not just of the variable names that are there, but also what kind of data type is actually that particular variable that we are interested in. So if we are going to do that, then what we are going to get is the following listing that we have over here. Take into account that apart from the fact that we get here the column numbers starting with 0 and well, then ending up with all the columns that we have in total. There are 126 in total, and well, we have also 4,945 observations, and well, then in addition that what you can see here is well, first of all the observations that are not null in this particular case. That's not always the case, but for our very first variable, the ID, it is actually true. And well, then in addition that we get the type of the particular variable, and take into account that in many situations actually the type by itself is not that informative, because of the fact that it simply says object. That's most likely because of the fact that in the original Excel sheet, well, it was more like a mixture of different kind of variables, like a mixture of strings and maybe also some non-strings included in it as well. And that is a reason probably why it actually gives us this very general, say, name object that we have over here. But take into account that that's not true for any kind of variable that we have. For example, this ID, this global ID that we have over here, well, that actually has a specific type, namely it's an integer. And that's also true for this house number that we have over here. That's also an integer. It's true for a living area. That's actually a float instead. And we also see it for plot area, number of bedrooms, and we actually see it for bouwjaar. That's actually nothing else as Dutch for the year of construction. Unfortunately, many of the variables actually are not in English. So some of these variables are in English, but others are not in English, they're in Dutch. So probably for the non-Dutch speakers, it is necessary to sometimes use Google Translate or ChatGPT in order to know what actually is the content of that particular variable. But if we are going to scroll here a little bit further, then we find out that well, we also have actually inhoud, which is nothing else as Dutch for volume. We have well, some other things such as number of bathrooms. But we also have, and that is what we are going to get if we scroll back even more, we have some booleans here as well. For example, whether we have a balcony or not, whether we have a garden here or not. This town is Dutch for garden, and we have, for example, whether it's a monument or not. And we do have a couple of other say booleans over here. If we scroll even more, then we see even many more booleans over here. It says, for example, something about the type of house, such as whether it's a villa or not. This is an attached house or not, and things like that. So there's actually quite a lot of information available here, even whether there is a sauna in the house or not. That is all kinds of, well, very interesting information, of course, about what in the end could be the house price, or at least the asking price of a particular house. Well, if we scroll even more, then we do find that there are, well, as I already said, 126 different variables. Because of the fact that we started with 0, that means that the last one has number 125. It gives us a little bit more general information about the file, or about the data frame. It says which different kinds of variables that we have, and it actually also gives us the memory usage in the end.